So we're back in the shop again, taking a look at another tool just to make life a little bit easier. And this time we have the Airlift Coolant System Vacuum Tool, or Rad-Vac for short. This thing makes working on a cooling system on any car way easier. Now, one thing you guys may know, if you break into the cooling system on, say, a Terminator, and you get a little bit of air in there, it can be tough to get the air purged out of the cooling system. And the air pocket can cause a lot of problems. One, you can get cavitation at the water pump, which can eat away on the water pump housing and the front cover. But the big one is it could create a hot spot wherever the air bubble gets trapped. So say like the number 7 or 8 cylinder, that's a bad spot on a Terminator to overheat. If the air bubble gets in here, you can have an overheating situation on those 2 cylinders and you can toast a motor. So what a lot of guys will do, you end up squeezing the coolant hose and trying to burp the system to get that air bubble out. But with this tool, you don't need to do that. So basically you get this little kit, and inside of it, you've got a few different hoses and connections and fittings, but the main one is this. To pull off your coolant cap or your radiator cap, you know, if you have a vehicle with a radiator cap, you would take that off. Or if you have one with a degas bottle, you take the coolant cap off there. Put this thing on, screw it down, get a good seal. So once you have the main body here attached to your degas bottle or your radiator, and you got it sealed down, you would take this fitting, connect it, just like so, and then connect this part to your air hose on your air compressor. And this will start flowing air through here, and when you open this valve, it'll start pulling a vacuum on the cooling system, effectively evacuating all the air in the system out. Then once you get it to the desired level of vacuum, just close it down. You'll probably see the coolant hoses crush down and everything, but you just leave it sitting there for a little while. You can start the engine and run it, let it circulate the coolant, and it will pull out all that air that's in your cooling system. So now you got a completely purged cooling system, but let's say you want to add some coolant. Well, with this thing, you can just unhook it, and then it also comes with a filling hose. So you can take this end and stick it down into the jug of your favorite coolant, and while we still have the system under suction, under vacuum, connect it here and then open your 2 valves, and it will pull the coolant through this hose from the vessel that you have your new coolant in and fill the system. And once you've felt like you've put enough in, just close the valves down and you're done. So the kit comes with a lot of different rubber ends to seal up to a lot of different styles of degas bottles and radiators and things like that. I tend to stick with the cone fitting here because it's more universal and I don't have to change it out as often, but once you get it situated into the degas bottle, you just screw it down and it sort of expands out here and it creates a good seal. So this is another one of those tools. There's a ton of different brands and different options you could get. They have them that's made out of plastic. This particular one's brass and it's kind of heavy duty. It's the Airlift brand. I got this thing on Amazon. I think it was like 125 bucks. I've used it way more than I thought I actually would. I got it for one job, and that was one on our F350. I was doing a coolant change on it, and it's pretty important on those trucks to get all the air out of the system, because if there's at least a little bit of air left in the cooling system, it can cause cavitation at the water pump and cause major damage to the front cover. And once it cavitates a hole through that aluminum cover, you can get oil and water mixing, and it's really bad. So you want to get all the air out you can. So I bought this specifically for that job. I'm surprised by how much I use this thing. You would think, well, maybe once a year you would use it, but you'd be surprised. Anytime you get into the cooling system, or if you have a supercharged car, the intercooled system on a vehicle, it just makes changing the fluid a lot easier, and just basically maintaining your system and making sure that there's no leaks in it and no air in it. So like I said, I spent about 125 bucks on this one. There's more expensive versions, there's cheaper versions. You can get one off the Snap-on truck if you want to. Like I said, this one came from Amazon and it served me well. It's one of those things where it's kind of a big pill to swallow on the upfront cost, but I think if you buy one, you'd be surprised by how often you actually use it. So that's it for this video. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and then head over to svtperformance.com to check out everything that we've got going on Ford performance related.